Okay, remember when we discussed this phase diagram? I hope you can see the phase diagram now. Remember that there will be a point here. We call this one as TC, or critical temperature. And if you take that point to the left, you will have PC, or critical pressure. It will be specific for a certain phase diagram. CO2, methane, oxygen, nitrogen, and so on will have a specific phase diagram. Now, let's go into a definition of ideal gas. You can check from Dober in page 13 or Smith-Vannes in page 63, which basically ideal gas is an approach. Ideal gas is not the real gas. It's only an approach to make the calculation much easier, because we only use this simple formula. So it's kind of a methodology that consider gas composed of a very small molecule, where the volume of the molecule itself can be neglected. In addition, there is no interaction between the molecules. Okay, what does it mean? It means, for example, we have oxygen. Between oxygen molecules and neighboring oxygen molecules, it will not have any interaction. So it's like, you can imagine, it's like a billiard ball, pool ball. Okay. So the next point that we want to emphasize on ideal gas is, the first one is monoatomic gas. You remember monoatomic gas? The one that located in periodic table on your the inert gas, in the group 8A, helium, neon, argon, krypton, and so on. This is the monoatomic gas. We can assume at a certain condition means specific pressure and temperature, where this type of monoatomic gas, this is a monoatomic gas, the volume of the molecule is very small, because the molecule is only consists of one atom. That's why we call it monoatomic. Only one helium atom, one neon atom, and also one argon atom. And between that atoms, there are no interaction. Okay, you remember, let's say the smallest one is helium, and then neon a little bit bigger, argon is more, and krypton is bigger. An example of the diameter of this monoatomic gas. Okay, now the next one that we need to consider, remember that in the previous previous discussion, I mentioned that basically interaction is how each of the atom interact. That is the first idea of interaction. However, the molecule itself the molecule itself has their own movement. So for example, in the one that I mentioned previously, in terms of internal energy. So in the interaction case, this is among molecule between molecules. However, in internal energy, that one is coming from the molecules itself, the internal of the molecule itself. So you remember when I mentioned the first one is translation, where the atom or the molecule moves freely. The second one is rotation. We will discuss this one in the diatomic gas. And the last one is vibration. Vibration also occur in monoatomic. So in this case, for monoatomic gas, the energy is coming from both translation and vibration. No rotation in monoatomic. Because let's say you have a molecule like helium like this, one atom. If it is rotate, the energy will not give a significant effect compared with if it is translate, move to a certain area, or vibrate. So it's like vibrating like this. Okay, so this is translation. And the second one is vibration. Okay, so up to this point, any question? Now, the one that I want to show you is, by definition, we can predict how this system acts as ideal gas. This is the first case for monoatomic gas. Diatomic gas is also possible. What is diatomic gas? The simplest one is oxygen and nitrogen, where this is the main component for air. You remember 21% of oxygen and 79% of nitrogen. This is the main component of air. Why we call this one as diatomic? Because the shape itself would be more or less like this. Oxygen with the double bond, nitrogen with triple bond. So it's like two atoms with one bridge. So if this one is the case, it means it will have both all translation, vibration, and also rotation. What kind of rotation? This type of rotation. So it's like, imagine this span as a bridge on at the end of this span consists of the main atom. So if we go this way, it means the rotation gives an extra energy towards internal energy. That is the main difference between monoatomic and diatomic gas. Okay, so when this type of gas, monoatomic and diatomic, can act as ideal gas, because the ideal gas itself, the idea should be very small and no interaction between molecules. This is the case. It only happens when we have a very low pressure and very high temperature. But again, low pressure and high temperature is relative, right? We can say 1 atmosphere is low pressure if it is compared with 1,000 atmosphere or 1,000 bar. Similarly, 100 degrees C, it can be very high compared to minus minus 65 degrees C, where normally the LNG temperature occur. So again, temperature is pressure and temperature. The meaning of very low pressure and very high temperature is relative. That's why we need to compare with something. The simplest one is to compare with critical pressure and critical temperature. So for example, you have oxygen at room temperature and ambient pressure. What is the room temperature? T is equal to 25 degrees C. The second one is pressure. The pressure is around 1 atmosphere. This is the room temperature and ambient pressure. The one that we normally live with the standard air. Now I need your help. Try to find TC and PC for oxygen. You can use the Smith-Van Ness book in the appendix, or you can Google. Try to Googling this one. You can use Google. What is TC and PC for oxygen? Come on, try to Googling it. It should be simple. I will help you as well here. Let me know if you know the result. TC means critical temperature. So critical temperature for oxygen. Can you find it? Hello guys. Minus?
Minus 180.
180 degrees, correct. The second one, critical pressure. Oxygen.
Is it 732 psi?
Okay, 732 psi. So 1 atm to psi, let's use 14.7 psi. Now let's try to use this approach. The pressure is much lower than critical pressure. It's true, right? 14.7 is much lower than 732. Now let's compare with the temperature. 25 degrees C is much higher compared with minus 118. So this condition is applicable to this oxygen. What does it mean? It means that we can consider oxygen at room temperature and ambient pressure as ideal gas. What is the advantage of ideal gas? We can calculate using this formula. Ideal gas equation. Okay, so lesson learned that really important at this point is at a certain condition, we can consider some gases can act as ideal gas, but only at a certain condition. What kind of condition? When we compare with critical pressure, it should be much lower. When we compare with critical temperature, it should be much higher. Another advantage is you can calculate this internal energy and enthalpy as a function of temperature, which actually in the real case, not only a function of temperature, but also a function of pressure. Remember, U is equal to mCv delta T. The second one is delta H is equal to M Cp delta T. What is Cv and Cp? This is heat capacity at constant volume. Heat capacity at constant volume. Cp means heat capacity, but at constant pressure. Okay, so this is the basic idea of ideal gas, and you remember what you have learned in your first year regarding with isobaric, isometric, what else? Isothermal and adiabatic. You still remember, right? Isobaric means the pressure remain constant. Isometric means the volume is the one that remain constant. Isothermal, you don't have delta T or delta T equal to 0 because the temperature remain constant. And the last one is adiabatic, where you don't have any heat move freely, or Q is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the transition before we enter the, maybe Pak Sanggono is already here.
Yeah, I'm joining now.
Okay, so Pak Sanggono will give you an example and the basic idea how to solve the problem in your second test. But the idea is remain the same. Remember that the concept of ideal gas, several gas can be considered as ideal gas as long as it meets a certain assumption. What kind of assumption? The operating pressure is much lower than critical pressure. The operating temperature is much higher than critical temperature. If that is the case, we can consider that one as ideal gas. Okay, any question up to this point before I give the next segment to Pak Sanggono?
Okay, now this material is already in the Microsoft Teams. I will go through the theoretical basis briefly and then go through the example. This is about internal energy, this is about heat, this is about work, and then the first law of thermodynamics, it is over here. There is a definition of the enthalpy. What is enthalpy? Enthalpy is internal energy. What is internal energy? It is some energy contained inside the system. That system, we look at this. This is a piston. It can move to the left. It can move to the right. If it is moving, then we call it works. It is working. But if the piston doesn't move, then we call it no work. Okay, that's the basic definition of the work. This is the definition of the enthalpy. If we do the derivation, dH, du, P, delta V, V, delta P. Okay, that's the simple mathematics. The three equation, what we call it? It is an equation sign, but with the three dash, it means definition. Definition means don't ask why it is defined like that. It is already defined. Okay, and then later we go through what we call specific heat or heat capacity. In a system with constant volume, for instance, if the piston does not move, then we call it constant volume. Heat capacity is CV, and the change of the energy is delta U, internal energy. If the system is this piston is moving to keep the same pressure inside, we call it constant pressure. We use the CP, that is heat capacity at constant pressure. The integration of CP delta T is delta H, that is the enthalpy. Okay, so enthalpy is related to the CP, internal energy is related to the CV. Okay, now we use it for a problem like this. This is example 2.7. Just follow this. I will go through it slowly so that you understand. If you have any question, please ask directly. Do not raise your hand. Just ask directly because I cannot see the other screen. Okay. So we have the problem over here, air at 1 bar, the temperature is at room temperature, compressed to 3 bars using the piston, and the temperature to be kept the same temperature. Okay, everybody knows that if we compress the gas, the ideal gas, the temperature shall increase. In this case, we need to get the temperature constant. Okay, let me check over here. Originally 1 bar, outside it is 1 bar, and then the piston moves to the left. It goes into 3 bars over here. How about the temperature? The temperature is increasing. How can we keep this temperature constant? We put the ice over here. Okay, so we take the energy, we take the heat from the piston. Okay, so the Q, the heat direction is from inside, that is the system, to the environment. Okay, but the step, there are 2 steps. One is step A and the other one is step B. In the step A, cooling first at constant pressure and then followed by heating at constant volume. Remember, if we do cooling, we put ice around the cylinder. If we want to heat, we put hot water outside the cylinder in order to get constant pressure, constant volume. Constant pressure, we call it later isobar. Constant volume, we call it later isometric or isochoric. Okay, so the process will go through, this is 1 step and this is the 2nd step. That is just for the A. Okay, before we go to the calculation, I would like to show you the curve. Okay, we have 2 curves. On the left, this is volume versus pressure. On the right, this is temperature versus pressure. In thermodynamics, we have just 3 variables that are important. PVT, that is pressure, volume, and temperature. The curve over here, this is volume to pressure. Later, you will see another type of the curve. This is pressure to volume, or temperature to volume, or temperature to pressure. So between the 3 variables, it can be interchangeable depending on the instruction. In this case, we are instructed to develop curve of the V versus volume versus pressure and temperature versus pressure. We start from the initial state, we end at the final state. Remember, we have path A small and path B small. Remember that path A, we have 2 steps. Okay, this is 1st step, this is the 2nd step. Okay, let's go back to the instruction. The A, the first step is cooling at constant pressure. Okay, let's check. Cooling at constant pressure. This to this. Is it constant pressure? Yes. What is that pressure? 1 bar. Okay. If we reduce the volume, it means we expand the piston. Usually the temperature will go down. Later we will check over here. Okay, that's true. The temperature originally 300 Kelvin to 98. It goes to a certain pressure temperature over here. Okay, this is isobar. This is at constant pressure. That is 1 bar. Okay, now let's go back to the instruction. Cooling at constant pressure and then followed by heating at constant volume. Heating at constant volume. Let's check over here. Heating at constant volume. What I remember is just constant volume. This, from this to this. This is constant volume. What is the volume? Approximately it is 0.009 maybe. Later we will calculate. Okay. Is it heating? Yes. In order to increase the pressure with the same volume, we need to increase the pressure, but the cylinder, the piston is at the constant volume. How to do that? We need to put heat. Okay, so there is a addition of the heat energy to get into the final state. This is the A path. Now let's go to the B path. The B path is heating at constant volume. Okay, let's check over here. Constant volume. Constant volume is this. Heating. We can go to the right. We can go to the left. Why do we select to the right? Well, because when we put the heat, the energy, then there is an increase of pressure. There is no reduction of the pressure. So the direction is to the right. Up to a certain point, then the second step of the path B. What is the second step? Followed by cooling at constant pressure. Okay, let's check. This is cooling at constant pressure. What is that constant pressure? 3 bar. Why is that direction is to this direction? Why is it not upward? Well, if it is cooling, then the volume will go down. Okay, the piston, if it is cooling, the piston will move to the left. Let's check over here. If we have piston, we put cooling. Cooling means we take out the energy, the heat, then the piston goes to the left. What happens if the piston goes to the left? The volume will decrease. Okay, let's check. Is it right that the volume decrease? Yes, from this point up to this point, there is a decrease of the volume. Okay, so the point is this. From initial state to the final state, we can go through the path A, we can go through the path B, we can go directly, we can go through other paths actually. The energy involved are different in each of the paths. That is the profile of the volume versus pressure. How about the temperature? Originally, we are from the initial state, we expand, then there is a reduction of the temperature. And then from this point to this point, there is a compression, increase of pressure. Usually when we increase pressure, we increase the temperature into the final state over here. How high the temperature or how low the temperature like this, we will calculate later. Okay, path A, this is the path A. Path B, this is the path B. So the one on the left is identical to the one on the right. Okay, now we go through the calculation. Before we go to the calculation, let's read again. This is from 1 bar to 3 bar. We need to keep the temperature constant through the A and B pathways. And then we need to calculate delta U, delta H. enthalpy, internal energy, and then we are given the Cv and Cp. The unit of that Cv is the same, Joule per mole Kelvin. It is the same as the unit of the universal gas constant, R, 8.31 Joule per mole Kelvin. Okay. Assume that it is ideal gas. You remember the ideal gas equation, PV and RT? If you move the temperature from the right-hand side into the left-hand side, PV over T equal NR. N and R constant, so we call it PV over T constant. Okay, and then molar volume of the air. Anybody remember, if I have an ideal gas, 1 mole of the ideal gas, what is the volume in liter? Please respond. Basic chemistry, high school. I have a 1 mole of nitrogen. What is the volume at the standard condition in liter? Please respond.
Is it 22 point something, sir? I forgot.
22.4. Okay, liter. Okay. Over here, we have 298 Kelvin, 25 Celsius, 1 bar. The molar volume is this, cubic meter. What is in liter? In decimeter, cubic decimeter, it is 24.8 liter per mole. What is that 1 mole? 1 mole of air. What is that 1 mole of air? 79% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen. Okay, so approximately 22.4, but to be exact, this is 24.8.79. Okay, now we go to the calculation. PV over T constant. What does that mean? PV constant. P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. So this is the equation. We know P1 is 1 bar. P2 is 3 bar. Final pressure. What is that original volume? This is the original volume. Initial volume at 1 bar at 298. We put over here. What is the unit? This is bar over bar cancelled. This is in cubic meter. So we have this. The volume V2 is at 0.008 cubic meter. Now we can plot this information to this curve. Pressure, this is 1 bar up to 3 bar. Initial volume, what is the initial volume? That was the 24.79 liter. We put over here the initial volume. What is the final volume? Yeah, this is the final volume. We put over here. So you can construct this pathway of A. How about the B? Okay, the same thing. You just make it parallel. This is parallel. But in order to make it parallel, actually, you have to calculate what is that pressure, what is that volume. Since it is declared that through the path B, it is constant volume, then you stop at this. This is the initial volume. You stop at a certain pressure. This is the pressure of the 3. And then constant pressure. Well, from that point, you go down over here. So easy. You can construct volume to pressure easily. Up to this point, are there any questions? Just to construct V to P. Later, we will construct T to P. Okay, clear enough? Now, I will continue to the next calculation, PV over T. PV over T, it means, let me check, V and T. It means V over T is constant. What does that mean? V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. If I want T1 over V1 equal T2 over V2, that is the same thing. Okay, so over here, V1 over T1, this is T1 over V1 equals T2 over V2. You move that V2 over here. Okay, in this case we call it T2 as T prime. That doesn't matter, the same thing. Okay, the point is that we want to calculate that T2. We have V2 from the previous calculation. We have V1, it is known. We have T1, original temperature, 298. Then we are able to calculate T2 or T prime. That is 99 Kelvin. Okay, now you have the data of the T2, T1, V2, V1. You draw over here. There is temperature. Oh, I'm sorry, pressure. We have to check the pressure. But the pressure, it was known. Initial pressure, and there is a drop of pressure over here. You just plot the values of the temperature and pressure from the original point up to the final point through this pathway. Then you are able to plot this. Okay. Now we are working on the pathway A. We need to calculate the Q, work, delta U, delta H. Q, remember, if we work pathway of the A, the first path is at constant, what is it? From here to here. What is the constant one? This is constant pressure. Okay, remember, if we have constant pressure, we are talking about Cp. We are talking about enthalpy. Okay, this is constant pressure. This is Cp. This is enthalpy. Okay, so for the first pathway here, we calculate that Cp multiplied by dt. That is the delta H. This is the Cp. The delta T, the original is 298. The final is 99. Okay, delta T means T final minus T initial. You multiply that, you get minus 5,000 something. Delta H is minus something. What does that mean? There is a decrease of the enthalpy. If there is a decrease of the enthalpy, it means it releases heat. Is that right? It is releasing heat. Okay, let's check the logic. If you go from this to this, there is an expansion or compression. Please respond. Is it compression or expansion? The first segment of the path A. Okay, please respond.
Compression, sir?
Compression. Why is it compression?
Because the volume gets smaller.
The volume. There is a shrink of volume. Don't think that compression shall increase pressure. Usually we understand that compression means increase the pressure. Over here, no, it doesn't increase. The pressure still stay at 1 bar. Okay, so it is because of the shrink of the volume, the reduction of the volume. If you have the reduction of the volume, this is the reduction of the volume to the left, how can you keep the pressure constant over here? Well, we have to cool down. We put the ice. So the direction of the heat is from inside to outside. That means we release, the system release heat. Okay, back to the results over here. Q or delta H, there is a negative. That is releasing heat. Okay, now how about the work? Work is pressure multiplied by delta V. That was a constant pressure, remember, at 1 bar. The delta V, This is the original minus 0.002. The final, this is in cubic meter. The delta, of course, it is negative. This is negative, and then there is a negative in front of this because the formula involves negative. So the total is the positive. The work is 1,600 joule. Is it working, or it is doing the work, or is it admitting the work? That is the question. Work done by the system or work received by the system? Okay, please respond. Anybody? Positive. Is it work done by the system or work done to the system?
Is it by the system, sir?
By the system or to the system?
By.
By? Okay, I think it has to be to the system. Why? If work done by the system, then the system will lose some energy. If it loses some energy, the sign should be negative over here. If it is positive, it means it gets some energy. Some energy means it gets some work. Okay. Remember last time, the direction of the piston, if it is doing some work, it goes to the right. If it receives some work, this goes to the left. In this case, it goes to the left. So it means work done on the system, from the environment to the system. That's what we call work done on the system. If it is work done by the system, the direction of the piston is to the right, and it is expansion. Is that right? Expansion or compression? If it is to the right, it is expansion. If it is to the left, it is compression. Okay. Okay, back to the work over here. So it is work done on the system. Now we need to calculate delta U. This is by definition, remember, H equal U plus PV. Put the delta U, delta H, delta PV. This is negative, okay? Delta PV means it is just simple mathematics. Delta of P multiplied by volume, delta of volume multiplied by pressure. But on the first step, it is at constant pressure. Is that right? Yes, it is at 1 bar, constant pressure. If it is constant pressure, what happens? Delta P is 0. So what we have is the delta V multiplied by P. Because the delta P multiplied by V is 0. Okay, so we put P delta V negative and delta H. This is the delta H from the previous calculation. This is P multiplied by delta V. You can calculate individually, or you can just copy paste from here. P delta V negative. The value is 1653. You put over here. Okay, so the total of the delta U is this. We have calculated delta H, Q, delta U, W. Temperature, pressure, volume. We have everything. Okay, that was just the first step of the A. Now we go to the second step of the A. The second step is this. This is the second step. It is at constant volume. There is an increase of pressure. Okay, so this is the second step. We remember, if it is constant volume, we go with CV delta T. And it is delta U. It is not delta H. Why? Because constant volume. If it is constant volume, it is CV. If it is CV, it is delta U. Okay, so CV you put over here, delta T, final temperature minus initial temperature. You multiply, you get 4,131. That is the delta U. There is an increase of internal energy. What is the direction of the Q? Is it coming in to the piston or is it coming out from the system? Please respond. In or out, the Q? Hello?
Sir?
In.
Sir?
Yes, that's right, in. Because it is positive. It is increasing to the system. Okay? So the Q coming from the environment into the piston. The direction of the Q, the arrow is from outside to inside. Okay? Now, V multiplied by delta P. Where is the other P multiplied by delta V? The delta V is 0. Is that right? The delta V volume is 0? Yes, it is. Because we have over here the same volume. The delta volume is 0. Okay? So we only have the delta pressure. What is the delta pressure? From 1 to 3. Okay? The final is 3. The initial is 1. Okay? So back over here. Where is it? Second step, delta U plus delta PV. Oh, sorry. V multiplied by delta P. Okay. This is the volume. This is the delta pressure. This comes from 3 minus 1. We have 2 bar. 10 to the power 5, remember. 1 bar is 100 kilopascal or 10 to the power 5 pascal. So if it is 2 bar, 2 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 pascal. Okay, we get this joule. Delta H, this is by definition H equal U plus PV. You put the delta H, delta U, delta of the PV. Delta P multiply V, delta V multiply P. Since it is constant pressure, then constant volume, we have that constant volume multiplied by the delta of the pressure. V delta P is here. You just put 1653 over here. Add with the delta U. You get the delta U from here. Then you get the delta H. Okay? Now, this is the overall. We are just talking about path A. Q 57844131. This is the Q 4131 and the Q 5784. Okay, so we get the overall Q. How about W? The same thing. You add the first segment. This is the second segment. How about delta U? This is the first segment. This is the second segment. It is 0. How about delta H? This is first, this is the second, we get 0 also. Okay? Up to this point, are there any questions? We have done path A, this. Next, we are doing the path B. It is similar. It is, okay, we start path B. The first segment, we calculate the temperature. The same thing, PV over T constant. You put T1, P2, P1, get the T2. This. And then, if it is constant volume, let's check over here. Path B, the first step from the path B, it is constant volume. What if it is constant volume? We work with CV. We work with delta U for this segment. Okay, now over here, B, we have delta U CV. You just put temperature, you get delta U, and then V delta P, because that delta V volume is 0, it is constant volume. You get over here V delta P. This is by definition enthalpy equal U plus PV. You take the derivatives delta H delta U V delta P. Okay, that V delta P value is 4958. You put over here. The value of delta U, it is here. You put over here. You get delta H. Now, the second step of the B, cooling at the constant pressure, isobar. Okay, the same thing. If constant pressure, we use CP. CP, we use enthalpy. Okay, remember, if you have CP, you don't use delta U. You use the enthalpy. Okay, you put values to get 17,000 or 17 kilojoule. W, work, there is a change of the volume. Okay, this is the volume change. How do we get these values? It is from the previous calculation. The original volume, the final volume. Okay, like this. Okay, you put the volume, delta V, and then you get work. Delta U, it is by definition H equal U plus PV. You put the delta, you put the negative over here, you get the delta U. Now the total. This is Q, this is Q, this is Q. This is the total. The work you add up, the delta U you add up, delta H you add up. Okay, regardless of the pathway, you get the same delta U and delta H. How about the Q? We need to check. Of course, it is different. This is the pathway of the Q, 4958. It may be the equals to. This is the B pathway. How about the A pathway? Let's compare. This is the A pathway. 1653. 1653 compared to 4,900 something. Okay, so it is different. Okay, up to this point, are there questions? Okay, now I will continue a little bit. That is about the adiabatic. Okay, but first, before going to adiabatic system, we have gone through the isothermal. Remember, isothermal is constant temperature. If you have to calculate the work at constant temperature, you go through this equation. Depending if you want to use the pressure difference, it is P1, P2. If you want to use the volume difference, it is V1, V2. The formula, it is natural logarithm. How can we get this natural logarithm? There is a derivation in the chapter 3. We just use this. If you want to go through the derivation, there is a complete steps over there. Okay, this is for isothermal process that is in the same temperature. There is an isobaric process. It is still for ideal gas. It is the equation 21 from chapter 3. The Q is this integral of Cp delta T. We have done this actually. Okay, it was isobar. How about isometric or isochoric? We have done this also. Integral of Cv. If Cv, it is delta U. It is not delta H. Okay, that Q is delta U. If you want, you can remove that Ig. That Ig is ideal gas. Okay, by default, whatever we work now is the ideal gas. What is ideal gas? Gas that is relatively low enough in pressure, high enough in temperature, but basically it is a real gas, because if we have gas that is close to the condensation, condensing vapor, we don't call it ideal gas. Okay, so it is one phase that is gas. Now we go to what we call adiabatic process, or by definition we need to calculate, this is gamma. What is that gamma? Gamma is Cp over Cv. Okay, this is the sign equation with the 3 dash. It is definition. Don't ask, why is it not Cv over Cp? No, because by definition, this is the value. Okay, and then if you work with isophoric, isobaric, you can use PV over T constant. But if you use with adiabatic, then the expression is a little bit different. This is the equation number 23, A, B, C. But first, before we go through this equation, I want to describe the adiabatic. Okay, if we have a piston and then I put the insulation outside this piston. Okay, if the piston moves to the left, what happens? There is an increase of pressure over here. The volume decreases. How about the temperature? Anybody want to try? How about the temperature? If I move to the left and then I put the insulation over here. How about the temperature? Increasing, decreasing, or constant? Please respond, please try.
Is it increase, sir?
Yes, it is increasing. It is just naturally when you move this piston to the left, the pressure builds up and the temperature is increasing. If you do not have the insulation, then there is a Q, there is a heat to be released to the atmosphere in order to get the constant temperature. But if you put the insulation, then the temperature definitely is increasing. Okay, that is what we call adiabatic process. It is like in daily life, we call it thermos. Thermos is to keep hot water inside a container. Okay, now on the other hand, if I have this piston to be moved to the right and we have this insulation, what happens? Well, there is an expansion, the volume increasing, the pressure decreasing over here. How about the temperature? Of course, the temperature is decreasing because we put the insulation. Okay, if we do not put that insulation, the temperature doesn't have to be decreasing because there is a supply of heat from outside into the inside system. Okay, so when we put the insulation, we call it isolated system. Isolated means there is no transfer of the energy of heat and there is no transfer of the mass. So the mass inside still over here. It doesn't leak to the environment, or the material from the environment does not leak into the system. So we call it, this is an isolated system. Insulated system and isolated system. Insulated because of the heat insulation, isolated because of the heat insulation and the mass isolation actually. Okay, clear for adiabatic. Now we go back to the equation over here. Okay, let me see. Okay, in the adiabatic system, temperature multiplied by volume to the power of gamma minus 1, it is constant. What is gamma? This is the gamma. Okay, Cp over Cv, usually the values is around 1.6. So gamma minus 1 approximately is 1.6 minus 1, that is 0.6. Okay, depending on the data provided, that's CP and CV. Now, what does that mean, constant? If we have first initial up to into the second step, T1 of multiplied by V1 with this power equals to T2 multiplied by V2. If that is from process 1 to 2. Later, you have another step, like step 2 to step 3. Condition 2 to condition 3, things like that. Well, the same thing. T2 V2 equal T3 V3. Remember, put the power function over here. How about if we want to use this? Same thing. For instance, from step 3 to step 4, T3 P3 equals T4 P4 to the power this. Remember to put the power. That is how to use this equation. Okay, depending on which one is known, which one is not known. In this case, usually we have T and V. If it is, we need 4 variables, T1, T2, V1, V2, 4 variables. Maybe just one variable that we do not have, V2 for instance. So T1, T2 should be known, V1 should be known, then we calculate the V2. Over here, for instance, if we have T1, T2, and we don't know the P1, we know the P2. The same thing, so you calculate the P1 from this equation. T1, P1, T2, P2 with this power. This power only applies to the pressure, not to the temperature. This power only applies to the volume, not to the temperature. Okay. If you wish, you can remove the Ig so that it is simpler. This is just volume to the power of this. But remember that it is in an ideal case. Same thing like this. If you have to calculate the work, this is how to calculate the work. You put the pressure, volume, and then gamma minus 1. Okay. Up to this, let me check one more. If you are asked to calculate Q in the adiabatic process, how to calculate Q? Anybody want to try? Please. Because we have Q over here, we have Q over here, isobar, isochore. In the adiabatic, if you are asked to calculate Q, how to do that? Anybody want to try? Nobody want to try? That is the easiest actually. When we say adiabatic, then the Q is 0. Why is it 0? Because no heat transfer at all. Not heat from inside to outside. There is no heat from outside to inside to the system because we have the insulation. Okay, so it is not written here, but keep in mind if it is adiabatic, the Q is 0.